My name is Dorothie Shah, happily moved into the city from Evanston, but my husband has found the shuttle nearby very convenient for his rather frequent treks out to Northwestern. Auspiciously, I was working in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and my husband came from India to Lehigh, where he did his master's in civil engineering, and then was hired by a firm in Harrisburg and stayed the first couple of weeks at the YM while he was looking for an apartment. And one evening at the Y, my husband, Surendra Shah, was eating what was on offer from the Y cafeteria and struggling because it was very unpleasant for him. The feature that evening was liver, and he had come from a strict vegetarian family in India. So my friend chatted with him and discovered his distress and invited him to join him for dinner at the First Presbyterian Church. After a couple of weeks, members of the group said, "Why don't you prepare an Indian dinner for us?" He said, "I can't cook." And I said, "I'll help." I couldn't cook either. We have two sons. My older son is an attorney who's director of a community development project in Denver, Colorado, and he has 3 children. And we have a younger son who's a cinematographer living in Los Angeles, and he has 3 sons. As I got to know my husband, we became acquainted with friends from the immigrant community, and that was a pretty small community at that time. This was the 1960s. Among the people in that group who was most significant, I would say, was a woman who has been very active in the Indian immigrant community as a member of the Indo-American Center. And Shobna Sangvi introduced me to her friends, and I was invited to become a member. And there I met Padma Ranganswamy and Lakshmi Menon. Padma, who had done the pioneering research about the immigrant community, which resulted in her publication of Namaste America, and Lakshmi, who had been a spokesperson for the Indian American community and appeared on Chitrahar, one of the innovative television programs about Indian Americans, which originated here in Chicago, because I learned so much about Gujarati cooking from her, and also about her daily routine, which included a morning puja or worship. And I learned about the generosity and love of someone who was initially really baffled and disappointed about her son's choice to marry some stranger from the other side of the planet. A program that we developed at the Indo-American Center became clearly focused on outreach to people from the non-Indian population. And both Padma and Lakshmi were very interested in the issue of preserving the history of immigrants who had come from India to Chicago and the United States. And our first major project in that regard was producing a pictorial history of Asian Indians of Chicago, reaching out to a wide array of people from many different organizations. After we completed that project, we began to discuss the possibility that maybe we could be like the Mexicans or Japanese or Chinese or Greek Americans who had a museum of their own. And so we finally established the museum with bylaws and a 501c3 status, and have continued to conduct programs and activities as a virtual museum where we use the shops and the ethnic community in the Devon area as a part of our program. My hopes for the future are that the Indo-American Heritage Museum will engage many more Indian Americans in both support and participation with presenting the story, and that we will attract the children of many more immigrants to support the museum, as our vision is that every child will have an awareness of his or her own special ethnic identity. And one of our dreams is to have at least an exhibition space of our own, perhaps not a whole building, but at least a space that is identified with us and where we could eventually develop the resources to have a building and programs ongoing throughout the whole Chicago area, where the now 200,000 Indian-Americans are living. If we can engage each one to invite a neighbor, a friend, or a person who's not of Indian origin, we can promote better appreciation of the rich cultural heritage which the very diverse population from India brings to the United States, and what that diversity means for a nation with a very, very diverse population.
Do not try to assimilate. Don't try to blend in. Don't lose your identity. Be who you are. Thank you. Thank you. Be who you are and be confident and proud of who you are. I don't like it when people try to blend in. Like brown people, Indian people, don't start doing what white people do, like naming your kids after cities. Paris, Austin, Madison, London. Don't start doing that. It doesn't work when an Indian does that. Hey, Calcutta, come here.